Well, hello there. I'm Jen Jackson, mother of 11 beautiful children. While my life is filled with wonder and adventure, it can sometimes be laced with confusion and what feels like chaos. Can you relate? My goal is to point out that while motherhood can have its moments of difficulty, it can also be beautiful and marvelous. As a mother, you have a superpower that cannot be duplicated. You are the true Captain Marvel. Let's talk about it. Welcome to episode 12 of Marvelous Motherhood with Mama Jen. And today I'll be talking about how to get your little ones, your children, to eat healthy. Or just the simple practical tips of how to get them to just eat all of their food. I get asked that question a lot. Wow, your child ate salad? Or how do you get them to eat all of their food at dinner time? I've been asked that many times and in many situations at homeschool co-ops, on vacation, with other moms. It's just a question that I've been asked many times. And so I'll just let you all know what I do and the tips that I have. First of all, I want to talk about the importance of teaching your children to have healthy eating habits. I teach my children to have healthy eating habits, that we don't just go around eating a bunch of chips. I emphasize that they need to eat protein and produce, the 2 P's, protein and produce. We don't always have to have rice or bread or pasta or rolls with every meal, but we need to get that protein and produce. So most of my dinners are just a meat and a vegetable. So it might be salmon with cabbage that's sauteed with peppers and carrots and onions. Or it might be chicken, lots and lots of chicken that I chopped up and seasoned well and have it with string beans or have it with broccoli or have it with a salad, which I don't buy bagged salad, mostly because I don't trust bagged salad. I don't know how well it was cleaned, what kind of facility the lettuce was processed in. So normally when I go to have salad with my family, I just buy all of the ingredients, the romaine lettuce, the tomatoes, the different colored bell peppers, the croutons, the feta cheese, whatever I want to put in my salad, I buy them individually so that I can, especially my vegetables, wash them off properly and make sure they're cleaned properly. I've heard enough horror stories of people who got listeria or E. coli from eating bagged salad, so I just don't even go there. But I'm sorry, that was a tangent. My point is, as the mother, you are in control of what food comes into your house. You are the first point person. So if you want to bring healthy foods into your house, then buy the healthy foods and don't buy the unhealthy ones. It's as simple as that. If you already have a habit of buying unhealthy foods, it will be difficult, to be honest with you, to make a switch because your brain and your body and your household is so used to what you've already been bringing in. So it will be a difficult switch, but you will just have to tell yourself, even audibly sometimes, I'm not going to buy that bag of Chips Ahoy cookies. I'm just going to buy an extra bag of apples. I'm not going to buy a box of potato chip varieties. I'm going to bring in 2 bags of tangerines instead. As a mother, whoever's doing the grocery shopping, you are the first point person to healthy living in your household. And it's important to teach your kids healthy food habits. One, so that they can have a healthy relationship with food and not depend on it for coping or for stress eating and things like that. But also, it'll be better for their bodies, better for their health. They will be in a better mood if they eat better food. Trust me when I say this. Your children will be more well-behaved and in a better mood and have better attitudes when their bodies are healthier. And I just want to pause there and help you to understand that, yes, disciplining them and teaching them well is such a major, important role when it comes to raising well-behaved children and well-adjusted and well-rounded children. Yes, the way you raise them is important, but what you feed them is an important part of how you raise your children. So teach them healthy eating habits. And if you yourself don't have healthy eating habits, so it's hard to teach your children, the simplest way to develop those healthy eating habits is to cut out the things that you already know for sure aren't healthy. I'm not saying to go on a tangent and go down a rabbit hole to find out what you should and shouldn't be eating. Don't try to follow a very strict Dr. Sebi diet or put your family on a Mediterranean diet or worry about keto diets and things like that. Keep it simple. You know it's not healthy to eat a sleeve of Oreo cookies, so don't buy them for your household. You know it's not healthy to eat chip varieties, 3-4 bags at a time, so don't allow your children or yourself to eat them that many times. And I know I'm saying this as if it's easy for some people, and I know that if it's a habit in your household, it will be difficult. But what I'm saying is, it's not rocket science. I'm saying that it's not difficult in the sense of trying to figure out how or what to do. The difficulty is the willpower. But I'm just giving you examples of things you can replace them with. So if you're saying, my children come home from school, if you send your children to school, and they're always hungry, so I always have a big pantry full of snacks for them, goldfish, cookies, potato chips, crackers, those things like that. Instead of putting those things in your pantry, fill your snack corner with fruit. And at first, if your children are used to the cookies and snacks and things like that, they will protest and they will pretend that they are starving. I'm so hungry, there's nothing to eat, they'll say, if they're used to having those kinds of snacks. But they will quickly get on the wagon and get on the ball of eating fruits. If they are hungry enough, they will pick up an apple. They will pick up a tangerine. They will pick up an orange. They'll get themselves a cup full or bag full or bowl full of grapes or cherries or whatever kind of fruit you bring into your house. But it's important to feed your children healthy foods because it helps them feel better. It will help them to live longer. It will help them to think more clearly. They will perform better in school. They will have better attitudes with each other, and they will have more energy to do things and go out and play. So please, one mother to another, feed your children healthy foods. And the simplest way is to just start replacing unhealthy things when you go shopping with healthier options. That's the simplest way. I'm not pushing or advertising any particular diet. I'm just saying make the simple steps of replacing unhealthy purchases with more healthy purchases. And the simplest thing to change are your snacks at home. Give your children the options of a variety of fruit and vegetables to eat. And let that be their only option when it comes to snack time. No granola bars either, because granola bars are just candy bars with oatmeal in it. Okay, don't make Nutri-Grain bars and, Quaker Oats oatmeal bars trick you into thinking that that's a healthy snack option, because it's not. If you want to give your child something healthy, the best way is to see, what did God make for my children to eat? Whatever comes straight from the ground is a healthy option, because God made that for you and your children to enjoy. And that is loaded with vitamins and minerals. If it was made in a factory, if it's in the middle of the grocery store aisles, and if it's in packaging, cardboard or plastic packaging, it probably isn't a healthy snack. So keep it as simple as that. And when it comes to getting your children to eat more healthy foods, another obstacle that comes along, so we just talked about the obstacle of yourself, your own willpower, bringing that healthy food in the house. And my tips were, replace the unhealthy options with healthy options, and just don't bring the unhealthy stuff in, so your children only have the options of the fruits and vegetables to eat as a snack. But the next obstacle is people on the outside of you, others' opinions. I go to barbecues and parties with my children, and sometimes they serve things that I don't allow my children to have, like hugs, Hugs. If you guys know those drinks, it's sugar water and food coloring. They are so unhealthy, they have no nutritional value, and they're just not good for our children. So if they have hugs available for the children to drink, my children already know they come to barbecues with their bottles of water, and that's all they're allowed to drink, their bottles of water. If they have some other kind of drink that's healthier, I'll check it out and let them know if they're allowed to drink it or not. But they already know automatically that they definitely cannot have hugs or soda, and that they have plenty of water to drink, and they're satisfied with that. They're used to it. I've explained to them why they can't have soda and hugs. I've explained how it's not good for them, how it's terrible for their teeth and their health and their brains, and how soda is terrible for kids' bones. So they know all those things. So they don't get disappointed when the other kids are drinking them. They just know they can't, and they go on with their life and enjoy their burgers and potato salad and cupcakes and things like that. So, but the others' opinions is sometimes a kryptonite to parents who are trying to have healthy habits with their children. I've been to a barbecue before when someone came up to me and said, "You only live once." She got an attitude with me because I didn't let my kids drink hugs that she was trying to give them. My kids were not upset. They just said, "No, thank you." And then she asked me, can they have them? And I said, "No, thank you." And then she got the attitude and said, "You only live once." And I thought to myself, that's very true. You only live once. So I want my children to enjoy that life. I don't want them to get bad eating habits and end up with chronic diabetes or high blood pressure or some other kind of ailment that could have been avoided with just eating better. I don't want them to be dependent on medications because they don't know how to regulate their bodies, or their livers or pancreas got destroyed because of eating bad things. I don't want them to have early cancer diagnoses because they fed their cancer with too much sugar or whatever it is. I just know that they will feel better in the long run and the short run if they eat better. And you only have one life, so I want them to feel good in that life. So her trying to tell me I should let them eat what they want because you only have one life, it just only proves to me more that I should teach them good habits because you only have one life. Let yourself and your children live that life being healthy, not being overweight, because then when you're overweight, you can't do as many fun things. You can't climb as many fun things. You can't get on as many rides at the amusement park. You can't get on zip lines when you go on vacation. There's so many things that being overweight stops you from being able to do. Not to mention the uncomfortableness of sitting and standing and walking around for a long time, and the aches and pains that people overweight get that they don't talk about, like the knee pains and the elbow pains, the ankle pains, the joint pains, the flat-footedness, all those things that could have been avoided with just what is being eaten. So that's why I push so much for my children to eat healthy and encourage moms who want to learn more about it, that it's okay and it's not so hard or so bad to give your children healthy options and to tell them, no, you can't have that candy, you can't drink that soda. It's okay. Remember from my other podcasts, we're not raising quote unquote happy children. We are raising happy adults, and our children will be very happy adults if they can grow up feeling good about themselves physically and emotionally because they have a healthy diet. Another obstacle when it comes to outside influence is not just others' opinions, but others' actions. There are many people who are trying to serve their children healthy diets, and they have grandparents who come in and say, well, that's my grandbaby. I want to give them this. And as a parent, you have to gently say, I appreciate you loving my child, but please only give them this and that. I have talked to the grandparents and grandmothers of my children and said, hey, when you bring snacks, can you not bring little bites and, a big box of cheese balls, but instead just bring fruits. If you want to bring a gift to my children, we all love fruit. We're all used to fruit. Bring fruit. And there are many times when their grandparents come over to visit and they just come with bags and boxes of apples, bananas, plums and peaches, grapes, pineapples. And my children love it and they dig right in. And sometimes they might come over with a bag of chips they got from Trader Joe's or some ginger snaps made with real ginger, which I could appreciate not being in the household, but I appreciate the effort in finding a healthier alternative to Chips Ahoy and things like that. But the point is, when it comes to outside influence and opinions, it's okay to just gently and respectfully talk to those who just want to bless your children with a delicious snack and ask them to bring something healthy instead. Ask them to just bring fruit. Stop by the produce junction and just go crazy on fruit, however much you want to buy for our household. And we would love that for our children. Another important tip to help your children eat healthy is to just talk to them about the reasons why. Now, when they are toddlers, you might just only have the options of the fruits. Don't say, oh, no, we don't buy cookies, because you can just, in your household, just have that as an option. Grapes, strawberries, blueberries, bananas, things like that. And over time, you'll learn what your children's favorites are and what things they don't prefer. And you can get more of their favorites. And then when they get hungry and go in the kitchen, they'll go and get their favorite fruits instead of a bag of chips or a cupcake or a sleeve of cookies. Another obstacle when it comes to giving our children healthy foods is when we go places. So I already mentioned, when we go to parties and barbecues, they'll have unhealthy drink options. And my children already know they can only drink water. But they also have desserts. So my children know they can't have hard and sticky candies, and they can't have chewing gum, because all of those things are bad for their teeth. But they are allowed to have cookies and cupcakes when it comes to a birthday party or a barbecue. But they also know that they are limited. I usually let them choose 2 options that they can have for dessert, and then I tell them no more. Now, if they're little teeny tiny cupcakes, I'll let 2 of those count as 1 if they want to go get another dessert. But normally, if it's a party, I let them have 2 options as a treat, and then they know if you're still hungry, go eat some fruits or go eat some more real food, because it's a party. If you want to not let your children eat those things at a party either, then that's fine. My tip for that is, if you are absolutely against eating, if you want to be, or you are absolutely against having your children eat cookies and cakes at parties and barbecues, what you would do is pack your own treat for them to eat, so that while the other people and children are eating dessert, your children will have a delicious treat to eat also from your household. And you just explain to them, we don't eat XYZ because it has trans fat in it, or it has an excessive amount of sugar and it's not good for your body, but I'm bringing these for you guys to eat. Or, what healthy treat at home that we have would you like for me to bring with me for when they give out the cake and cupcakes and things like that? And let them be a part of it that way. It's not impossible at all to avoid cakes and cupcakes and cookies, even when you go to parties and barbecues. You can just bring your own alternative with you. There are people who have major allergies to gluten or to nuts or to eggs, and they bring their own desserts for their children when they go to parties. So that's really not a big deal. Just explain to your children ahead of time what they can and cannot have, and then have your alternatives ready in your own bag for when it's time to serve those things, and then go and enjoy the camaraderie and fellowship, because you're there for the people, not just for the treats. And another obstacle is not just birthdays and birthday parties and barbecues, but places where your children are not with you, like Sunday school at church, or a school function, or a trip. If you're not homeschooling but your children go to a brick and mortar school, you don't know what they're serving your children while they're there. So a good way to handle that obstacle is to have a talk with the leaders of those things to let them know your children cannot eat XYZ, and also give your children a bag that they can carry with their own snack and water bottle inside, and let them know when it is snack time and everyone else is getting their snacks, you eat this, not what they're giving out. And you can explain to your children, again, why. Especially when your children are old enough to ask why. Answer the question. Tell them why. We don't eat this because of, we don't eat that because it has. Just be honest with your children that you love them and you want them to live a long, happy, healthy, holy life. And this is one of the ways that you're teaching them to do that. So those are my tips for getting your kids to eat healthy. Now, when it comes to getting your children to eat all of their food at mealtime, my tips are very, very simple. One, don't have too many options for your children. For example, I went somewhere before and a woman, she could not get her child to eat her food all up, even if it was pancakes and eggs, things children love. She was just so picky. And I said to the mom, only because she asked me, I don't give unsolicited advice, but I said to the mom, your daughter has too many options. On your counter, you have crackers, chips, cookies, granola bars, and all day long, she's constantly going and eating this junk food. And then when it comes to mealtime, she doesn't want that meal. Even if it's a kid-friendly meal like spaghetti, she doesn't want it because she knows she has other options that she can go to whenever she wants throughout the day and night. So there's no saying, well, you can't have dessert if you don't eat your spaghetti. She doesn't care because once everybody's done and playing, she's going to go and grab a granola bar. She's going to go grab a handful of cookies because she can, because you've given her that liberty. If you limit and take away all those snacks, only put out fruits and vegetables. And when she gets hungry, she's eating only the fruits and vegetables and doesn't want to eat dinner, at least you know she still had a healthy meal eating produce. If you put cheeses and yogurts in the refrigerator, I don't recommend lots of yogurts, but cheese I'm good with. And she goes and eats those. You know she still got her protein intake. So if she doesn't eat a huge plate of dinner or breakfast, you know she still ate well that day. And you won't have to worry as much. Another tip is stop making your children gigantic plates of food. Just because you think your child should be able to eat a plate of food doesn't mean they really want to eat that much. So when I have small children, I make them very, very tiny plates of food, especially if I know it's a food that they don't enjoy very much. And I don't give my children the option of me making them something else if they don't want what I cooked. We all eat the same meal at that time. And if you don't want to eat that food, you eat a tiny bit if I'm making you eat a tiny bit, or you have to go eat some fruit. But you're not allowed to just not eat anything. And my children are not allowed to go and grab a snack or granola bar or something like that, which I don't have granola bars in my house, but they're not allowed to just go grab some other unhealthy snack in place of their meal. They have to eat whatever I cooked and we eat it together. But if I know it's something that they particularly don't like, for example, I have children who don't like mashed potatoes, but most of them do. So I will give literally a teaspoonful of mashed potatoes to my 5-year-old. And then, a whole spoonful of chicken or a whole bunch of chicken wings, whatever it is I made to go along with it. Or, a whole big spoonful of beef or whatever it is, because my children love meat. But if it's a food I know they don't like, but I still want them to eat, I will give them a very tiny bit. I have given my 3-year-old 3 little string beans on their plate before, because dinner is not going to be a battle for me. I want to enjoy my meal also. So it's okay to give your child a tiny little plate of food. And then if they want more of something, give them more of that once they're done that tiny bit. That is a very practical way that I get my children to eat all their food. I don't make them a gigantic plate of food and say, you should be eating this much food. I give them a tiny bit. And if they want more, then they get more. And if they don't want more, then that's fine. They wash off their plate and place it on the counter. And then later on that evening, if they're still hungry, Well, yeah, go to the kitchen and get some fruit, or get some carrots and ranch dressing, or get some celery and peanut butter. There are options there, healthy options you can eat that I wouldn't mind. Your snacks, I would say this. Another tip for a healthy snack is if you would allow your child to eat that as a meal, then that's probably a healthy snack. If you allow your child to eat celery and peanut butter for lunch, crackers and cheese and grapes for lunch, then that's a good snack. If you would count it as a meal, a healthy meal with protein and with produce, then it's a good snack. That way, if they only want a tiny bit of their breakfast or a tiny bit of dinner, and you make them a tiny little plate to eat with the rest of the family, and then they ate those snacks before or afterward, then you're doing good. So those are my practical tips for getting your kids to eat healthy. As a recap, is bring healthy foods into your home. You are the one in charge, so you bring them in. If there are outside influences, have a gentle and respectful talk about what your children are and are not allowed to eat. And, of course, talk to your own children about what they are and are not allowed to eat. Make a game plan before you go to birthday parties and barbecues and church functions and family reunions and things like that. Make a game plan ahead of time of what your children will eat when everyone else is eating something unhealthy. And when it comes to getting your children to eat all of their foods, it's okay to make them a tiny plate. Set them up for success. Enjoy your meal. Don't spend your whole dinner or breakfast fighting with your child to eat every last bite. If you know your child's picky eater, give them one pancake. Give them a spoonful of eggs if you know they're going to be a picky eater. That way you're setting them up for success. It does not have to be a fight. And then make their snack options healthy. That way you know they're still getting the vitamins and minerals and protein that they need. Take away the unhealthy snacks. Take away the abundance of options, and you will have a healthier eating child. One thing I've learned when it comes to this journey of helping our children to eat healthy and eat all of their foods is that it's not a mystery. The hardest part of getting our children to eat healthy is just willpower. We know what to do. We know what to eat. It's the willpower. It's not a mystery of what to do. We just have to make up our minds and psych ourselves up for success. Because you, mama, are the one in charge. It all comes down to who's the boss. Is your child the boss, demanding cookies and cake? Or are you the boss, enforcing fruits and vegetables? Think about that. Now, when it comes to motherhood is marvelous because we get to share these meals and memories with our children and talk about things. And then we get to watch our children grow and thrive physically, emotionally, spiritually, socially, academically, etc., etc. And you get to watch your kids grow and thrive and say to yourself, wow, I did that. By the grace of God, I did that. And give glory and honor and praise to God for helping you to do so. So what do you think, my fellow sister in motherhood? Leave a comment or send me an email, which is in the description. And have a marvelous day, mama. You've got this.